Hi, this is Ross from VSM. In this video tutorial we're going to be looking at the Consolidated Trunk Group Traffic Report. I do recommend that you look at another video first if you haven't already, and that's the Trunk Group Traffic Report. That gives you a lot of background into the data that we use for this particular consolidated report. The view I'm using for this tutorial is the customer view, of course, so if you're a business partner you'll need to select the customer first before you drop down into Capacity Manager. So we start with Capacity Manager here, select Reports, and then Trunk Group Consolidated Report. What this report does is it uses the real data that we've collected within VSM and uses that to model the scale of trunk groups if we combine them. So a very common scenario that a lot of customers are going through right now is they are discontinuing ISDN type services, traditional TDM telephony, and moving towards a SIP delivery. And we can see with this customer here they've already got SIP trunk groups standing up in their Albert Street and Penrose sites, so they're getting ready to go. So a very common scenario would be to look at how do we scale those SIP trunk groups, what do we need to do, particularly when we're combining lots of different trunk groups into one. There's some really great efficiencies to be had through that process. I'm using a really busy time period for this customer, so December of 2015, that's their peak time in terms of traffic on their trunks. So we of course want to use that peak, that worst case, to do our modelling. So if we were to model, for example, this customer, if they're going to look at combining all of these trunk groups, so they've got a site there called Econs, got Apollo, Hamilton, two trunk groups there, and two trunk groups at Penrose. So if I shift click here, we'll select that whole group. So the scenario is the media gateways that are at these sites, these 4 different sites, these media gateways are going to be discontinued. They're only there for the delivery of trunk traffic, and that trunk traffic is going to be converted into a SIP delivery and delivered via data centres. So very, very common. So I'm going to take all of those particular trunk groups there. I'm going to run this trunk group consolidated report, and that's going to look at the real traffic that occurred during the month of December, so a peak time. And if we combined all that traffic onto a single trunk group, it's going to show us the savings that can be made in terms of channels. So our report's now been presented to us. Just grab a pen. So up the top here we can see all of the trunk groups that we've combined. So there was, trunk group 20, trunk group 50, trunk group 70, 72, 91, and 92. So they've all been combined, all the traffic that's running on those during December, and we're using that for our modelling. So using quite a high sample rate, we can see some interesting facts about that traffic. So the trunk group size there is 240 members. So that's the combined size of all of those trunk groups. The peak channels that were used was only 96. So this is where we're starting to see those efficiency gains. The trunk groups had a combined total of 11 overflows during that time. So when you look at them as individual trunk groups, at particular sites, they're probably not big enough. But when you combine them into a single SIP delivery, that's when you start to get the big savings. As we can see there, 240 members becomes 96. So using our raw data across the left-hand side here, so the peak we're talking about the red series here, is sort of around the 1500 CCSs, and what that means in terms of trunks, of channels, once we've modelled that through the Erlang calculator, we can see that there it's somewhere around the 70 mark is all we're going to need in terms of that SIP, that scaling of that SIP inbound trunk group. So a really good way to model what will happen if we combine we combine all these trunks into one, and the types of savings that we're going to realise. So I hope you found this tutorial interesting. If you have any comments, feedback, suggestions, please feed that back through your business partner, or feel free to drop us an email at support@visi.com. Thanks.